Hi everyone, thank you for joining me. Normally I do my crochet classes at Hobby Lobby in San Antonio, but because of the coronavirus, COVID-19, those classes have all been canceled. So I've decided that I'm going to do some more YouTube videos, and I think this will help us get through this time. I'm hoping it'll help me get through this time and stay busy and have a little fun in the process. Okay, so let's begin. Okay, today we are going to talk about straight edges on a double crochet pattern. This can be a problem depending on the technique that you were doing. And I have about 5 different techniques that I can show you. So let's just jump right in. This very first one is a chain 3. Do not skip the first stitch. And let me just show you what that means on this sampler. I just did a chain 13 double crochet in the 4th chain from the hook and all the way across. So this first technique is chain 3, do not skip the first stitch. There's your 1, 2, 3 chains. Turn your work, and then you're going to double crochet in that very first stitch. This is a very basic technique, and it works. However, you can see on my sample right here is that you don't get very straight edges. You have these little scalloped edges, and there are several ways to correct that, and I will go over the other ways in just a moment. Let me just finish up to the end of this sample, and I'll get right back with you. Okay, here I am at the end of my work, and we have one more double crochet to go. So as I said, with this first technique, the chain 3 doesn't count, so you are going to put a stitch in every double crochet across and not the chain 3 at the end. Okay, so you decide, well, I don't really like the way this looks, I don't like those scalloped ends, then let's try a chain 3 and skip a stitch so that that chain 3 counts as a double crochet. So let me show you what that looks like. At the end of your work, you're going to chain 3, turn your work, and you're going to skip this first stitch because this chain 3 counts as your double crochet. So then you'll double crochet in the second stitch. Let me go ahead and do one more. So you see, you did a chain 3, you skipped a stitch, and this works. This is my sample. It kind of straightens out the scalloped edges a little bit. You can see that this is not near as scalloped as this one. However, I don't particularly care for this one because it has a tendency of making little holes. So you say, how about a chain 2? Because I don't like to use a chain 3 for my double crochet. I only chain 2. Okay, well, let's try that. Okay, here I am at the end of my chain 3 skip a stitch. Because you skipped that very first stitch at the beginning and the chain 3 counts as a stitch, that means you're going to do a double crochet in this turning chain. So just to go ahead and finish this row, I'm going to double crochet in that last double crochet and then double crochet in that turning chain, the top chain of the turning chain. So that way I've got the correct number of stitches. Like I said, not really crazy about this technique. Let's try the chain 2. That will look like this. Now, I'm not going to do the skip the first stitch because I just don't like it. That's just me. So let's double crochet in this first stitch and see what that looks like. This should shorten up that scallop a bit. Let's take a look at that, which it kind of does. This is my sample for the chain 2, do not skip a stitch. It's still a little bit off, and this one works. This one to me is much better than the other two I just showed you. I like this one, although it's not my favorite. Let me show you one more, or two more actually. Okay, to finish off this row, because we did not skip a stitch, we are just going to double crochet in that last double crochet, and we are done. Okay, now this next technique is a little bit different than what I ever learned, and it just kind of threw me off when I first saw it, but I like it. I like the finished product. And what this is a chain 1, turn your work, and double crochet in the first stitch. And you're like, what? There's no way. That chain 1 is not going to get you high enough, get the right height for you. But it works pretty good. So there's your chain 1, turn your work, and then double crochet in that very first stitch. Let me do a second one just so you can take a look at that. There's your chain, and there's your double crochet. Now I'm going to go ahead and go all the way to the end with this one, because this one I like even better than the chain 2 do not skip. And I first saw it maybe about 2 weeks ago actually. I've been using a different technique, but this one works too. So let me just get to the end here. We've got 2 more. And get to the end. Okay, and then you're just going to chain 1 and then double crochet. Oh my gosh. That's crazy. But like I said, it works. See how this very first double crochet, you would think that it would kind of droop down like that because your turning chain is not tall enough. But once you double crochet into the top of that first stitch, it kind of straightens out. See this one right here? It kind of straightens out. It gives you a straighter edge. I like it. But like I said, I only saw this for the first time maybe a couple of weeks ago. My favorite technique is this next one I'm about to show you. Okay, here I am at the end of my sampler, and I'm going to show you that technique that I like is the single crochet chain 1. Now at the very end, instead of doing a turning chain, you're simply going to turn your work. Okay, then you're going to crochet a single crochet in that very first stitch. You're like, what? No turning chain? Nope, no turning chain. Okay, this single crochet will give you the width of a standard double crochet. Now all you need is the height, which you will get that with your single chain. Okay, now when you do your chain, make sure that you don't tighten up on your tension. Make sure that that chain is of the same tension of all your other stitches. Don't make the mistake of pulling on it, because you are going to be crocheting into that chain on your very next row. Okay, so let me do this next double crochet right next to it. And it looks a little odd, it looks kind of pointed, but once you start to double crochet into the top of that stitch right here, it straightens it all up. as you can see in my sampler. So bottom line, I like the last two techniques. I didn't think I was going to like this one until I actually tried it. But this is the chain one and then double crochet in the first stitch. And then this is no turning chain, single crochet, then a chain one and double crochet in the next. Okay, what do you guys think? All right, I just showed you 5 different ways of turning your work when you're using double crochet. Yes, crochet is an artwork, but what I am teaching today for any new student is technique. Artwork versus technique. So if you can get from point A to point B differently than I do, then go for it. Particularly if you like the result. For example, yarn over versus yarn under. If you like the result of yarning under better than yarning over, then do it. Just understand that your stitch is going to look a little bit different. Just like holding my hook. I hold my hook like a knife. I crochet right-handed, but I'm actually left-handed. I was taught how to crochet when I was 9 years old, and the teacher did not know how to teach me as a left-handed. So not used to using my right hand very much, I decided to hold my hook like a knife because I felt like it gave me better control. And it worked for me. It worked for me because I did have better control and I was able to learn rather quickly. There's no wrong way. There's no right way of holding your hook. There's no wrong way. There's no right way of getting straight edges on your double crochet. So one of the things I like to teach my students is in crochet, it's okay. No wrong way, no right way. If you like the result, do it. So I hope you liked my video. Please remember to subscribe to my YouTube channel. You guys have a great day, and remember, it's okay.